fundo para o Martinelli. O Vinícius tentou trazer a bola para o meio para finalizar, tinham 2-3 e aí foi bloqueado, deu chance da...
Brazil is underway again, courtesy of Bremer. Mentioned earlier on, it's back line for Brazil that have just 13 caps between them. France, complete polar opposite, over 100 caps between the back four for Didier Deschamps' side. It's Dembele of Paris Saint-Germain.
Oh, good feed.
Ekitike. Options awaiting. Down under the challenge. Down as the referee's attention and a free kick.
Ekitike bailed out a bit here. There's some contact. It's a trailing leg from Wesley. As Ekitike has gone through the two, he's put himself in the position to absorb contact from either defender. Just a little bit of a trailing leg from Wesley as the ball was touched through that he drew up behind him. As soon as Ekitike felt that pressure, he felt that contact, that's when he goes to ground cleverly to win this free kick.
Chance for Olise to test Ederson. He's club football with Fenerbahce nowadays, of course, from the Manchester City goalkeeper.
Keep an eye on number 15, Ibrahim Konate. He'll be one of the targets on these set pieces.
So in it comes for France. It's a delicious ball to the back post, and Rabiot is the last player to just nudge the ball behind for a goal kick.
Wonderful shape to this. Ederson has to be rooted to the spot as this just dances along the top of the 6-yard box. It's more of just a hopeful jump from Rabiot than one with intention and purpose.
Carlo Ancelotti said that France clearly are a quality team with world-class players in every position. Dangerous aspect, and where he fears them the most is the front line and how quick they are, and we've already seen an example or two of that, Jamie.
I ask you so many questions if you're the Brazilian back four. Mbappe can stretch you. Ekitike has already shifted side. Olise has as well. He can go into a number 10 role. He can go out wide. Dembele is also a threat in behind, yet he's dropped back in deeper. Communication is how you solve the problems if you're the Brazilian back four, and especially an inexperienced back four.
Brazilian back four that have kept 5 clean sheets in the last 10 games in all competitions. 2 clean sheets in the last 4 for France against the likes of the Ukraine and Azerbaijan. Kylian Chouameni. His nearest opposing player is his Real Madrid teammate Vinicius Junior, who he actually assisted the UEFA Champions League win against Manchester City last week. Successful flip from Mbappe. Rafinha manoeuvring inside to Casemiro. Here's Wesley. In behind. Rafinha. Averted behind by Konate.
It's another opportunity for Rafinha to get in behind. He's towed the line really well. Watch the way he holds his run. He's just slowed himself down. He knows he's going to have the space and the speed to be able to go and get in behind. Just has to stay in an onside position. Wonderful cover, though, to be able to win at the last second to deny the service from Rafinha.
So, Mike Maignan be tested here. Myriad of maybes now awaiting the service for Brazil. Rafinha to the back post. It's headed down and not away. Eventually, Chouameni got something on it. The referee spots an intervention inside the penalty area. Seems though Bremer was the guilty party on that occasion. But so far, it's been lively, as we expected. Mbappe has surprisingly shown a glimpse or two. Ancelotti, a word or two of instruction here for Brazil. Of course, we've had to this period in the United States with a handful of injuries to deal with, the likes of Eder Militao, Bruno Guimaraes, Rodrigo will miss the World Cup, Gabriel, Alisson, Marquinhos, all unavailable today. What that's done is given a handful of players an opportunity against France. They now press forward through Rabiot. Olise. Kylian Rabiot. Ekitike. So quickly back in possession. There's Matheus Cunha of Manchester United. Casemiro forward now. Rafinha in behind. With Rafinha. The deflection was costly for Brazil.
One noticeable difference, Gillette Stadium has grass. Typically, it's turf field. That would have skipped and gone a little bit further on the turf, but today with the grass, it's placed here ahead of the FIFA Men's World Cup. That just checks up enough on Rafinha, and he's got to be able to slow it down. It kills the counter, but that's the third time now inside of 14 minutes that Rafinha has gotten in behind. It's got to be better recognition from
Kylian Mbappe. Rabiot. Theo Hernandez. Fortuitous deflection for Meccano. Say to Ousmane Dembele. Malo Gusto of Chelsea on the ball now for France. TK. Malo Gusto. Mbappe. The angle against Ekitike. The ball ran and behind for a goal kick.
Brilliant recognition from number 15 for Brazil on his debut. Leo Pereira, watch the way in which Pereira just reads this. Lovely touch in the space from Mbappe, and normally if there's a less astute defender, Ekitike is in from a dangerous position. Man from Flamengo has done really well to come over and read the play.
Two-time Copa Libertadores winner, of course, with Flamengo. Last time he played in this building was all the way back in 2017 when his Orlando City side lost by 4-0 to New England Revolution in North America's Major League Soccer. May have some more defending to do here. Olise on the edge of the penalty area. And here's Wesley. Upamecano on hand for France. Wesley down under the challenge from Rabiot. Immediately the referee blowing the whistle.
So look at the intensity that this match being played with, and Casemiro, he's trying to shield off Rabiot, and Rabiot's got a great shout. You can just see the way the ball has changed angles from Rabiot's intervention. He's whistled for a foul. But just before that, as good as Rafinha has been, as much praise as we've given him for in behind, there's been the same amount of occasions to which Rafinha has had the ball played into his feet, and he has no interest in challenging Konate or Upamecano. Brazil needs to recognize that and find Rafinha into space. Less of those 1v1 challenges with the big center backs from France.
So 16 minutes in at Gillette Stadium. Goalless between France and Brazil. Jamie Watson, what's the assessment thus far?
Brazil need more of this. Vinny in space, hasn't been enough so far.
There is Vinicius Junior twisting and turning. Malo Gusto providing the necessary wall for now. Casemiro across the cover.
Instantly you notice just the way all the ears perk up from Brazil to get forward when Vinny gets in those 1v1 situations, and all of the ears pinned back to get back into position for France when Vinny Jr. gets in those positions. He's that much of a game changer. Brazil need to find Vinicius Jr. more.
Wesley. Tested by Ekitike, but the fullback from Roma able to manoeuvre away.
The switch is on. That's too slow from Brazil. They need to switch it out quicker.
Leo Pereira. Edison surveying. It's a little too close for comfort.
This entire spell of possession and eventually the turnover is all because Brazil does not find Martinelli quick enough. It allows France to get back and ultimately the turnover.
Deschamps, and playing against Brazil is always a special occasion. So it's these players to embrace it. Despite it being a friendly match, there is still lots at stake for so many players here today. The aim for him is to take a look and get a real sense of what's available for him this summer. This group now looking to manoeuvre forward. Upamecano, three-time Bundesliga winner with Bayern. Konate. Both of the French centre-halves today with a record of
91% tackle succession in their respective leagues. They've been near flawless as France manoeuvre themselves forward with Mbappe. Dembele. Gusto craving half a yard. Dembele unable to penetrate this time.
Best case scenario as well, there was too tight of a window and it was covered. Mbappe would have had a very difficult time receiving that with the limited space in behind. Just a little bit of impatience right now from France. They need to invite Brazil out to then try to find spaces to penetrate.
Well, he nearly found Vinicius Junior, didn't it? As France manoeuvre themselves into the Brazil half. Dembele poignantly into Ekitike. Ekitike, across the face it goes. Gusto back from whence it came. And Casemiro, calm under pressure, makes the clearance. Here come France once more. Mbappe, Rabiot. Here's Gusto. France look to unlock this inexperienced Brazilian back line. Not this time, though, and behind for a goal kick.
Very noticeable how deep Brazil are sitting. The low block is so difficult for France, and if you become impatient, you try to force those little passes in. It goes out for a goal kick. That's a win collectively for Brazil, and they get to operate out of a position of possession. Now, France have to be patient.
Goalless as it stands. What does he have up his sleeve to change that? 55 goals in 94 France appearances for Kylian Mbappe. Just 2 behind the all-time record goal scorer of Olivier Giroud. Dembele into Gusto. Gusto running straight into trouble. Casemiro taking over in the centre of midfield. It falls to Ekitike. Dembele unable to gather. France, of course, finished last year with 14 goals in their last 5 games. Never really been an issue for them. Perhaps an opportunity here. Could they? On this, another French foray. Rabiot. Towards the danger zone, and Casemiro is there to clear. Free kick to Brazil. And Carlo Ancelotti watching on. This cooling break is brought to you by Gatorade. I do wonder now, Jamie Watson, with just short of 22 minutes surpassed here at Gillette Stadium, what will the likes of Didier Deschamps and Carlo Ancelotti be saying to the 2 sets of players?
Well, we told you coming into both managers and both teams will be approaching this as if it is a FIFA Men's World Cup match. Hence, there is a cooling break, which we will see this summer in the FIFA Men's World Cup. So now this gives both managers an opportunity to go and discuss. And right now for Brazil, the question is going to be, how long can they be able to sit in deeply and defend, and how much further that makes those transitional breakouts become. And Brazil right now, it's bend, don't break against this France side that is becoming more and more patient, but also when they get into the final third, there is a sense of impatience. So Didier Deschamps will be saying to his side, keep the ball moving quickly, east to west, and wait for the moment when somebody from Brazil tries to predict where the next pass is and have a bit of unpredictability. Take an opportunity, go 1v1 when you get isolated into those wide areas quickly. That's how you can unlock this low block from Brazil.
Well, this brief halt in the game does give us a chance to address the elephant in the room and the rumour that Didier Deschamps may be stepping aside. Of course, he announced a long time ago that he would be stepping aside from the France job once the World Cup had concluded, but suggestions are, Jamie Watson, according to several different outlets, that Zinedine Zidane will take over the France national team once Didier Deschamps manoeuvres aside. I wonder, in preparation for such a huge tournament for France, how much of a distraction could that potentially be?
these players are used to distractions, right? So I believe that they'll understand. And if the rumors are true, it would have been discussed in the group, and Deschamps would have said whether this is true, this is false. He'd addressed it with the group, and we'll operate under the assumption that it is true. Then you'll ask the players, I'm committed to you through this project. And that's all that's promised, is for the players that make this group to get through the World Cup, and then you start a new 4-year cycle. So go through this cycle together. And whatever's going to happen on the other side of it, whether that's you playing, whether that's me coaching, whatever it might be, will sort itself out the day after the final. But for France right now, they need to be discussing how they can get to this position, how they can all succeed together collectively, and then everything changes on July 20th, wherever the program goes from there.
Carlo Ancelotti saying to the media just the other day that there's still lots to play for this group. He said he still sees, Jamie, as many as 4 spots open for the World Cup roster. What will his assessment have been of particularly some of those players that haven't had too many caps for his side?
I think the structure you have to be pleased with if you're Carlo Ancelotti, to be able to say at this time they've been able to frustrate France. They forced France into some impatience and some passes that have ultimately given the ball away unnecessarily. So I think structurally the pictures are there. Tactically, Brazil have gotten it right defensively. Now he'll want more of an expansive nature going forward, but the questions for this Brazilian side are 1, in goal, and 2, the back line. Less questions about the attack. That's more of a solidified front group with a lot more options to choose from. Players on the back line today for Brazil are really staking their claim, and so far it's been a good debut from number 15, Leo Pereira.
So underway again. If you are joining us late, where on earth have you been? Litany of half chances for both thus far. The goalkeeper really tested. What do we have in store now in the next 20 minutes or so? Callum Williams and Jamie Watson, your commentary team.
You get the sense that everyone in this building, whether you're donning the yellow of Brazil or blue of France, they all understand just how fine the margins are in this matchup. And while the players are treating it like it's a match in the FIFA Men's World Cup, the fans are approaching it as well, and there's bated breath for each time that the teams get into advanced positions. Is this the moment to unlock the match? This game needs a goal to break things open, though, for both sides, and ask either team to be a bit more expansive going forward.
There's Cunha of Manchester United. Casemiro, his club teammate, of course. There's Gabriel Martinelli, a player we've not mentioned too much in the opening 25 minutes.
That's disappointing for Martinelli to not be involved really going forward. He's been looked off. When you've got Vinicius Jr. to play off of, you need to be able to provide options, whether Vinicius Jr. supplies the service or looks you off. Either way, Martinelli can be a real complementary piece to Vinicius Jr., and he's a real quality player of his own.
Bremer unable to force away past Ekitike. Bremer, the centre-half of Brazil, whose last capped in June of 2024 against Mexico. There's Casemiro, cleverly through the crowd. Thrashed forward now for Martinelli to chase. Into the grasp of an untroubled Mike Maignan in goal.
Even if it doesn't come off, now it allows Brazil the ability to gain 20, 30 yards of space. And the starting positions are higher to force this turnover.
Here's Martinelli. Gabriel Martinelli, let's fly! Just a whisker wide.
Instantly from the cooling break, Brazil decided they needed to turn France around. And from that, they're able to start the press higher. One mistake quickly turns over. And the starting position from Theo Hernandez is so high. Vinicius Jr. draws the attention to be able to give the space for Martinelli to cut inside. And those are opportunities that Martinelli would fancy himself to be able to at least hit the target from.
11 goals in all competitions this year for Arsenal. They very well want that one back. It's Brazil side that have scored 10 goals in the last 5 games, including a 5-0 win in Seoul against South Korea, of course. Now they have some defending to do. Chouameni on the ball. Here's Rabiot. Theo Hernandez. Definitely, of course, World Cup winners in 1998 against Brazil. When Zinedine Zidane announced himself to the world, here come France through Malo Gusto, twinkle-toed and all. Gusto across the face and cleared away by Leo Pereira. for now. Elise. Just unable to wriggle through a whole host of Brazilian bodies. One of them, Matheus Cunha. Rafinha unable to gather. And here come France once more. It's a rather late challenge, isn't it? Instantly the referee pulling out the yellow card. And a free kick in the favour of France, and it's Léo Pereira, the player, who finds himself in the referee's book.
This all starts from France hunting in a pack together of four to go and win it on the far side. This is the look just a moment ago. That's a great look to see just how close it was. Martinelli doesn't take advantage of hitting the target. And then from there, France are able to regain possession, win it back in an advantageous position. And Pereira is late to it. He understands he's got to commit the foul at that point for fear of giving France the opportunity to go in behind unabated.
The question is, will Michael Olise be able to take advantage of this? A whole host of France players awaiting the service. Olise with an inviting ball in, to be dealt with by Brazil for now. Cousteau back into the path of Olise. Dembele. It's a lovely trip forward. Ekitike found something, and Brazil just about clearing the ball away to the right-hand side. The flag raised over on the far side, much to the relief of Brazil, I'm sure. So half an hour played in what has been a unsurprisingly tightly contested encounter here between the third place and fifth placed best teams in world football, at least according to the FIFA World Rankings. But there are many, Jamie Watson, that would suggest we are witnessing the two very best in world football as we speak.
A matchup worthy of a World Cup final, certainly of a semi-final. You wouldn't think twice about it if we said at the end of the World Cup these are the last two teams standing.
Rabiot with a problem. And much to the dismay of the Brazilian fans here, a free kick in favour of France. It's a wonderful atmosphere, a mixture of South American and European flair. A taste of what's to come. France celebrating courtesy of a Kylian Mbappe goal. Not for the first time, nor will it be the last. 56 goals and counting now, second to Olivier Giroud's all-time record of 57 for France. André Santos now taken down by Rabiot, and Brazil now with a chance to respond immediately.
This match is always going to be about moments, and the turnover, the ruthless nature for Dembele to split the two, left center back and the left back for Brazil with an inch-perfect pass. Is the moment which Martinelli doesn't take it with the opportunity from the top of the 18. Mbappe does take it at the opportunity when he gets it at the other end. And now Brazil are really tasked to try to find an equalizer through a set piece.
So Magnon, amongst a flurry of French players now expecting to be tested. Martinelli's ball in, it's a vital touch away from the head of Upamecano. Kylian Mbappe has scored at least 39 goals in all competitions in 7 of his last 8 seasons with both Paris Saint-Germain and Real Madrid. Staggering numbers.
Now it's interesting to see the response over the next 5 minutes from both sides. Do Brazil take a few more risks? Do France know they've got their reward so they can invite Brazil to come out? Lovely combination.
Olise, France off and running again. Kylian Mbappe and Hernandez flagged it well wide of the intended target.
That's a rush of blood from Theo Hernandez. Understanding the build-up has been beautiful to get to that point. No need to rush it. There's an overload. It's a 3-on-2 on the near side. Hernandez just rushes the opportunity. The window is closing down faster than it truly is. He has Ekitike. He should have played on the near side.
Theo Hernandez scored his 8th of the season in his last game for Al Hilal in the King's Cup. Now, perhaps with the chance to push forward again.
smart. Watch the way in which Tchouaméni puts himself in between Rafinha and the ball. Tchouaméni is one of the most brilliant center midfielders. His ability to just have eyes in the back of his head and understand where the pressure is coming from, where it's not, how to go into that space, how to be able to bait you in to thinking you're going to get it and then win the foul.
So now then, Vinicius Junior getting closer and closer to goal. Martinelli in support, Rafinha arriving as well. Falls to the cusp and lashed towards goal and well wide of the left-hand post. Matheus Cunha with the most recent effort for Brazil.
This is better from Brazil, understanding before France can get back and get set. If they can go quickly, the combination run was set off by Martinelli, and then it was accompanied by another attacker from Brazil. Allow Cunha the space to be able to just stop and let everybody run out of position. From 25 yards out, you're always going to encourage Matheus Cunha to have a go from that distance.
Here's Ekitike. Tchouaméni. He's unable to gather. Tchouaméni, whose cries for handball are heard. Well, Matheus Cunha, of course, scored 31 goals in 2 seasons with Wolverhampton Wanderers, meaning Manchester United felt more than comfortable to spend 76 million euros on him, making him inside the top 10 most expensive signings in Manchester United history. Now defence on the mindset of Brazil, though. Ousmane Dembele. Tchouaméni in behind! Mbappe. And we go so close once again.
Free-flowing French football at its finest. Mbappe never takes a look. He has the sixth sense of understanding where the goal is, but this time he knows that if he takes a touch, he's going to be closed down and ultimately defended by Bremer. So he goes with the first option of just trying to have the feel of where the goal is. Just gets his angles a little bit wrong. That is so good from France in the build-up.
So here's Martinelli, the Arsenal player, into Casemiro. Wesley, as Brazil now look to find something. Wesley down under the challenge, referee said the ball was won. Much to the dismay of the thousands of Brazil fans in attendance. Here's Casemiro, Casemiro! And wide. Well, he's convinced it should be a corner. He has talked himself into the referee's book.
Casemiro does so well to win this back. As it goes by, it does look like there's a touch. There's also the play before where Wesley looks as though he's fouled. And in real time, it's a difficult one. It's a combination of not getting the call from the one with Wesley, and then he believed his shot was touched wide. Right now, the Brazilian captain needs to just be able to keep the collective mindset of the group, see this out, try and go and get the equalizer before half.
He's found himself in fine fettle in recent weeks. 2 goals in his last 3 for Manchester United. Here he is on the ball again. Can Brazil find a way through here? Rafinha on the far side. Leo Pereira. Douglas Santos offering support on the far side. Bremer. There's Andre Santos of Chelsea. By Konate, who's been relatively untroubled so far this afternoon. There's Cunha, able to turn away. Now perhaps the France backline will find trouble. Vinicius Junior. What can he conjure here against Hernandez? Fabulous challenge from the France fullback. Ekitike. It seemed to be a rather late challenge from Wesley. Straight away the referee blowing the whistle.
There was really good defending inside the box. Rafinha tries to get beyond Konate at the back post. When Konate uses his body well, Vinicius Jr. has the recognition to realize it's just a hopeless ball to play it across with Konate in position. That's why he has to take the extra touch and invites Hernandez back into the 1v1 duel, in which Vinicius Jr. is all the way to the touchline. It's just good collective defending from the back four of France to stifle Vinicius Jr.
Upamecano, just short of 40 caps, puts the ball away and has some defending to do. It's a ball in behind for Cunha. Rabiot arriving in the nick of time for France.
Simply a mistake that cannot be made from the French center back. That is a poor giveaway. And Brazil need to be able to punish France. Smart recognition to get back from the center midfielder, Rabiot. My goodness, French just trying to gift Brazil the ball back in an advantageous position.
And so what can Rafinha conjure here? Litany of Brazilians awaiting the service.
Keep an eye on number 15, Leo Pereira. He's a threat, a tall center back, foraying forward now.
And it comes from Rafinha to the back post and headed up and over by Casemiro. Well, Casemiro has been at the heart of just about everything that Brazil have offered thus far. 34 years of age, there is one or two suggesting, Jamie, that he could very well be plying his trade in Major League Soccer after the World Cup. Didier Deschamps taking the chance to dish out one or two instructions for his France side, who lead courtesy by a 0-0. From Kylian Mbappe, for those of you joining us late. Here's Ekitike. Hernandez happy to retreat, and Magnon doing the rest. Mbappe offside.
It's just a difference on the approach that both teams have, with Vinicius Jr. being one of the highest players for Brazil. Him going against Konate and Upamecano, it allows for next to no service to alleviate the pressure into the number 9 from a physical standpoint. Contrast that with Ekitike and Mbappe for France. France can skip out the midfield if there's too much pressure because they have the powerful center forwards to be able to hold the ball up. Brazil don't have that option. They have to attack the wide areas, and it just hasn't been a smart enough entry pass into the front runners from Brazil in this first half.
Say around Casemiro.
Casemiro had to let him go because he's on the booking.
Malo Gusto. Dembele on the far flank. Dembele. Olise. In towards Kylian Mbappe.
And if I'm Brazilian players, I am furious at Casemiro because of his inability to keep his mindset, and he gets the yellow card for arguing with the referee. Now he's got to let the entire play go. He cannot make the foul in the middle of the field or he'll get a second yellow. This whole attack happens, and everybody's scrambling because of that very moment. That's indiscipline from the captain. Cannot have that, and then it allows this breakout to happen, which you'd expect Mbappe to be able to test Ederson from that angle.
And of course, Kylian Mbappe scored a hat-trick, you remember, in what was an enthralling 2022 World Cup final. The first player to do so since Geoff Hurst did it for England all the way back in 1966. Upamecano now, able to find Mbappe this time. It's lovely football from Brazil. Cunha on the ball. Wesley now. Martinelli offering support. And in behind. Martinelli across. And the ball did go out of play.
First time this afternoon we've seen a little up, back, and through from Brazil. Ball played in, set back, the runner through from the midfield. Carlo Ancelotti will be asking his midfielders to present that as an option more often than not in the second half. We haven't seen it nearly enough. Brazil really, truly are a threat when they get multiple players running in behind, just not the usual suspects of Vini or Rafinha alone.
So far, so good for Didier Deschamps and France. Carlo Ancelotti's Brazil with work to do. Questions to ask at half-time, perhaps. He's allowed to bounce. Ekitike latching onto it. Rabiot. Olise into Mbappe. Mbappe now for Rabiot. Excellent defending from Pereira.
So there's no option right now for Wesley to try to find a forward, so he's got to play it into Casemiro, who brings it down brilliantly. But here's the moment in which France are just going to dominate this matchup. Wesley wanted to be able to alleviate the pressure to a center forward. Casemiro wanted it, but instead they've got to try a more difficult ball to keep possession because Vinny has no interest in challenging Upamecano or Konate.
The referee does blow the whistle in favour of Brazil. Vinicius Junior with 8 goals in a Brazilian shirt throughout his illustrious career. At least 21 goals and 15 assists in 3 of the last 4 years with Real Madrid. 3 minutes of added time at the end of what has been an enthralling opening 45 here. And one would assume we will see a handful of changes at half-time. Cunha. Theo Hernandez into the path of the goal scorer Mbappe. Stopped in his tracks by Martinelli and Wesley. Theo Hernandez with the challenge deemed too aggressive. There's Leo Pereira of Flamengo. Casemiro flashing forwards. Magnon takes over a moment of uncertainty. Pereira at the opposing end. Here's Dembele. Going to France, much to the dismay of those in Brazilian shirts. Those 5-time world champions, Brazil. Last of those came in 2002 under Felipe Scolari. A side littered with world-class talent. Roberto Carlos, Rivaldo, Ronaldinho. The original Ronaldo, R9 as he's known. Here's Vinicius Junior. I said just the other day, that 2002 side, the team that inspired him so much. I can't imagine he was the only one. France unable to wriggle through, giving themselves a free kick though. Talk to me, Jamie Watson, about the involvement or the lack thereof of Rafinha. He's been little more than a spectator thus far. Why?
First 15 minutes, Rafinha was constantly putting runs in behind the back four for France, and it was really causing a problem. It was creating gaps. Brazil were picking up some of the second balls, but the more Rafinha has joined the rest of Martinelli and Cunha and Vinny Jr. looking to come back and play in front of the back four, the easier that's made the game for France. The back four for France have kept it in front of them, and that is delightful if you're a defender to play with everything in front of you. Rafinha needs to just have the willingness to continue to run, either get himself in behind, win a set piece, win a throw-in, or allow his midfield to then join in and pick up a second ball.
So here's Rabiot. As we approach the half-time interval here at Gillette Stadium. Kylian Mbappe with the single solitary goal to separate the two sides thus far. And that's how the first half ends. A 56th goal on international soil for Kylian Mbappe. The difference between France and Brazil at the break. Jamie Watson, what's your assessment of the first 45?
France took their moments. Brazil had half chances. They didn't test Magnon enough. It was just a real lack of cohesion in the final third. France has kept everything in front of them. It's been comfortable for them. Brazil are doing too much of this right now, conversating with the referees instead of conversating with themselves to be able to figure out the problems that the movement of the French midfield in front three for France have caused them.
So as it stands at the break, the dress rehearsal falls in favour of France, who lead at half-time by 1-0. And so let's revisit the opening 45 minutes here at Gillette Stadium, where, as it stands, France lead Brazil by 1-0, courtesy of Kylian Mbappe's 56th goal in France colours. And so it started with France perhaps giving us a taste of what was to come, Jamie.
Well, France did a wonderful job in the first half of being able to try to then ask questions, but when Brazil were able to press higher up the field, they were able to force turnovers like this. And this was an opportunity which Martinelli has to hit the target. He really has to be able to challenge the goalkeeper Mignon, but he doesn't, and it just leaves the door open for France. They haven't been punished enough yet, and so France, they take the invitation for a finish from Kylian Mbappe.
Where Brazil failed, France flourished, and Kylian Mbappe's 56th goal in France colours means at half-time it's Brazil 0, France 1.